awusiamo bibia kwaba emra Ghana today eso yebesere se Brady Kenya na subscribe channel no e dia maye na wie so wa share amawunia so ehude ekoso e wo my Ghana mu enkanka ene adesua honsem na ohwa ade ba kwa na sector ba kwa chese obe emanfo bebre bona na adodan kwa akofo ado abaso wo so pa no eye education sector hono na ohwa onimonyamfo osai yaw adutwum na je se odan no a chese wadan dan nyemani enei TVET dwumadie a aba na STEM education so aba no ya de sa mahodo bebere no ano ehwe kwan a banyifo efa so na omde we nyina eba ye na no so kra so dan chan ne free education kwan a no na do dan kwakofo ado etimi ede ba ye no so ya de mpanyifo eni di akire no mobo maba so pa ne enya Ghana anko empo ebibrem ha ne oman afa na nyina no ebo Ghana abaso osa kwan so na nei no asem de a chese ese free a year education sector ho eba chese nei no Ghana atimi a commission na se onimnyamfo se ye oditwum
akọ commission a year dwumadie kemkam pa ha ewo a year Ghana a year mantembo na we nyina no eye nkitaudi a Ghana ane Ghana ekampo mu na omotimi aboa ama adisua atimi afa na ntuma pa afira ewo bibire mantemia na onimnyamfo osei yaw adutwum enso ede nsem etudwa a chese ni nyina no gina Ghana mampania na mu nso na commission ye na ohwe education minister amodi an wabo na wiase nyina ni aso no ensem ode tudwa no na chese ade mu pipa yenko na yenko TV na nso fo adwen kire eto communication.
Good morning. The honorable ministers and CEOs of various agencies were gathered here, and our brother Gabi, we can't call him honorable, but he does the work of an honorable man in terms of the work he's doing around the world. So it's a great opportunity to be here today and to address you here. I want you to know that I feel at home because I live in America for 26 years. And 7 out of 10 times, if somebody asks me, where are you from? And I say, Ghana. So, Guyana. So I was been longing to come here to see my other country. And today I have the opportunity to come here. It's a beautiful nation, and I'm so excited to be part of this discussion. I've spent all my life in education, and I've enjoyed the opportunity to work in America in developing charter schools, before the President of the Republic, at that time he was a candidate, visited America, came to Los Angeles, was in my school, one of my schools, and he couldn't believe that Ghanaian was building schools in America. So he asked me a simple question: would you consider coming back to Ghana to help me change the education system? And I was asking myself, what is it that he wants to change that merits my leaving an organization with 200 workers to go back to Ghana and help him? But he talked about the free senior high school. He painted a picture for me of a kind of country he wanted to create when, God willing, he became the president. And he said that education will be the foundation of his presidency because he knows that in order for Ghana to be transformed, the foundation had to be strong. And it has to be based on education. He cited the examples of countries that have transformed their fortunes with Singapore, South Korea, and other countries, including the United States of America, and what they did investing in education, and that's what he wanted to do. His sound Addo so compelling that he compelled me to leave the job that I was doing there, to go back to Ghana, and as somebody who at the time did not trust politicians much, decided to become a politician. Leaving many years of education and jump into the political arena, where I was elected member of parliament and then went to Parliament, and he made me the Deputy Minister for Education for his first 4 years. And at the end of the 4th year, he thought I had been baptized enough in the Ghanaian political firestorm to be allowed to become the Minister for Education. So the President of the Republic of Ghana, Addo Danko, had this idea that he can transform Ghana through education, and he was going to make the investment. You see, over 60 years after independence, the poor in Ghana could not access secondary education. He didn't have the money to pay. So after junior high school, that was it for them. That is where the education journey ended. He thought that was unfair, and he thought that with that we were not tapping into the talent pool of our country to get all children, irrespective of where they were born, to really have their talents nurtured so that they could be part of the solution to the country's challenges. So he brought about what is called free senior high school, which meant that every child had the opportunity for secondary education. And it's not just a day secondary education, even boarding, because 70% of Ghanaian young men and women are in boarding schools. So the government pays for students to be in boarding, and for those who have our schools close to them, when they go, nothing is asked of them, including providing uniform and everything that goes with their education. This was a major move for an African country. We began to see a gender parity bridging, because in most cases, in most deprived communities in Africa, what happens is that the parents have to make a choice between educating a boy and a girl. And when they have to make the choice, invariably they choose the boy. So girls were not going to secondary school in the numbers that we want. Now the gap is bridging, and the next coming year we'll have a parity. That is, there will be the same number of girls as boys in secondary schools across the country. So the president was also keenly aware that you don't just provide access, you have to improve the quality of your education system. So various interventions were introduced, and then you have to look at the relevance of your education system to your own socioeconomic transformation. So in education, we have access, we have quality, we have relevance. But we happen to be in the fourth industrial revolution. And in this fourth industrial revolution, you cannot get your people competitive without looking at science, technology, engineering, mathematics education. So he understands that our TVET is critical, but also have to understand that that intersection between TVET and STEM is where we have to manage carefully. Because you see, if you do not put your children in a place where artificial intelligence and all that will become something that they can do, you're going to be dependent on the rest of the world. You're going to be dependent on the rest of the world for your robots and other things for manufacturing, and you lay off your workers at the same time. So that will be a double loss to you as a country. So science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education has become a centerpiece of President Akufo-Addo's education transformation agenda. We are building STEM schools in Ghana. We are building even some specifically for girls. We've jumped into an arena that we thought, many people thought was not reserved for the African student. And after being in the U.S. education system for 26 years, I go to Ghana and I see that we have the best group of children that we can nurture to become the best in the world. And that if Ghanaian children don't become the best in the world, then it's our fault and not theirs, because they are so respectful, they are ready to learn. So STEM education has been enhanced, and that's an area where we believe that we can have cooperation of Guyana, begin to learn from each other, where you are and where we are. We look at TVET education, and we've done a lot in that area, consolidating all TVET schools, moving it from different ministries and bringing it to the Ministry of Education. We began with the development of skills gap analysis so that we knew the areas where we need to train more people. And we built a number of TVET schools. We retooled existing TVET schools so that we can produce the requisite manpower needed by industry. But we believe that science, technology, engineering, mathematics is going to be the area that we have to give great emphasis to, because we need to ensure that we'll be part of the story of the fourth industrial revolution. We missed the first industrial revolution, we missed the second based on electricity, we missed the third, computer. Now we are in the fourth industrial revolution, the merger between the physical and the biological, where children can innovate and bring about serious transformation irrespective of which country they are growing up in. Yesterday I saw the news of a young Ghanaian student who developed an app with artificial intelligence that will enable farmers in Ghana to detect diseases that have affected their crops. He won an award in Dubai competing against a number of countries around the world. And he was given $600,000 to continue innovating. That is where you begin to see that we can leapfrog inequality. We may be behind today, but STEM education is going to give us something that can allow our nation to leapfrog in inequality and catch up with the rest of the world. A study was done by Brookings Institution, and it was said that it was going to take 120 years for education systems in developing countries to catch up with that of the developed nation. 120 years, I don't know where you're going to be. So in essence, they were saying you never catch up. But one thing that they said was that we can also leapfrog inequality, which simply means that we have to begin to look at the issue of access, quality, and relevance at the same time, begin to train our students in robotics, computer programming, and begin to put them in a situation where they can compete with the rest of the world. India is doing it. There's no reason why Ghana cannot do it. We can't compete with the rest of the world, and we can't beat the competition. And there are countless number of examples to that effect. So you have new STEM high schools that have been built by the president. If it were in America, this would be a community college or a college for that matter. But these are high schools, boarding high schools, getting students from around the country. In these schools, they are learning robotics, artificial intelligence, and they are combining a study of TVET and STEM at the same time. So these are schools, about 10 of them in Ghana, and we are building more. But I want to show you the work of a group of young women at a public high school where they have actually created an unmanned aircraft that can fly and come back after 1 mile. And now they have a runway. They're going through the approval process to upscale it. And that's an exciting opportunity for a young woman in Ghana to really let them know that they can really do it and they can compete with the rest of the world and win. So in the coming year, for example, we're going to have 10 senior high schools in Ghana where they are going to be doing aviation and aerospace courses. And we're also introducing biomedical. It has begun. Our high school students are now doing engineering, and they are doing computer science. See, if high school students can do business and they can do accounting, why is it that they cannot do engineering and they cannot be introduced to computer science? We have STEM centers that have been built in Ghana where if you look at, well, a friend of mine was watching this and said, is that Ghana? I said, yeah, you look at the pictures and those are Ghanaians. And there's so much that is going there in the various STEM centers where children are getting their hands on robots and they are building them and they are doing many, many things that can really lead to the transformation. So STEM actually gives us the opportunity for innovation. And that determines then the product that you have for trade purposes, how you position your country for transformation. There are a number of areas where the partnership will become very important, and I'm so happy to be here and to begin to take a look at how we can work together. There are something that you may be doing so well. We can learn from you, and there are something that we may be doing so well that you can learn from. Private education opportunity, Ghana being a safe haven. Students from Nigeria, everywhere, they want to come to Ghana and study. Those who are in the education development space should find TVET. Our schools have been retooled across the country. There are many, many good things. Science labs are being built in our various senior high schools. We want to make sure that they have the requisite tools to really provide the opportunity for them to compete just like anybody else around the world. There are some tools in some schools that are better than those that were in my schools in the US. And so it's giving us a rare opportunity that we can transform our fortunes through education. So you talk about the story of Singapore. It will never be complete without looking at what education did for them. South Korea, their story will never be complete without looking at what education did for them. So our story at Ghana will never be complete unless we look at the total transformation of our education system. I wanted to show you the aircraft that was, you can find it? Yeah, if you could get it quickly, I want that to be. And every new school we build, we have to make sure we have libraries that goes with it and science labs that goes with it. Everything that needs to be in the school has to be there in order for us to get the optimum benefit from the development of the school. So infrastructure development, the area of schools, those of you into construction, opportunity exists in that space as well. So the bottom line for us as a nation is that we are looking at how do you use education to transform your fortunes. How do we put poverty at bay and move a large number of our people into the middle class status, which in turn then fuel demand for goods and services. So we begin to create a circle of prosperity and break that cycle of poverty that we confront. So the virtuous circle of opportunity created for the Ghanaian is what will help us put away the idea of being associated with poverty all the time. So I believe that together with every one of you gathered here, we will have a different story to tell 20 years from now. I want the story to be told that 20 years from now, we came together as two nations, looking at what we can do together, and through that partnership, we change our fortunes together. In everything that I do, I don't know, because I live in Los Angeles or Hollywood, I always think about if a movie is going to be done, what would be my role? And how am I going to be cast? I went to UK recently, went to Parliament, I saw the statues around the place, and I told a friend of mine I was with, and I said, I'd rather be African. And he said, why do you have to say you'd rather be African? You're in UK. And I said, in Africa, I don't see many statues. And if I work out, maybe one day a statue will be erected of me. So essentially, we have a dream field of opportunity. In America, you have to look at the next. We have a dream field. And that dream field opportunity, so this is the unmanned aircraft. See, designed by young ladies from a school called Fiakobi, an obscure school, so to speak. It's not one of our famous high schools. And this is what they developed. I went there to see them the first time. They didn't have the runway. Now they have a runway. And at first time they were holding the aircraft for it to fly. Now they don't have to do that. They use a remote control. So just be patient with them for a minute.
This is in a village.
In a village somewhere. This is not the capital. It's not the capital. Fiakobi is somewhere remote, peri-urban area in Ashanti. So here it goes. And it will come back. So this opportunity exists. And you go there, and it comes back, and the excitement on the face of the young woman, it's unbelievable. Yeah, they are running away. All right, it's back. So thank you for your attention, and this is where Ghana is going, and we want to go Ghana. Because whether I like it or not, you're going to be my country when I'm in America. Thank you so much.